Okay, sorry. My recording seemed like it turned off. Everything seems to be solid with my phone. Just making sure it's cool in the case recording. This will be part two. We'll put through it. Even if it seems like it's not recording, I'll go and try to re-edit and snip another part that I want to go and put in. Okay, it's stuck in my throat. Pause. But at the same time, what I was saying before in the last one was within the case of his figure, he has a cultist feel, and it's a bigger part I was talking about in the same matter for him being able to see everything and omnipresent and seeing every stain and the point of horror and every correlation of horrific terror. He's able to see and perceive on an omniform level, like the Omni King. Seeing all different planes of the multiverse, he sees all different cases of horror as every stain in the crust of all in horror and death he preserves as a devilish figure and overrides it in full power, because no other being holds the same state of power in his conception of other possible being in power, because he obviously is the definition of, that kind of sound weird, definition of horror. So, yeah, that makes sense. It sounds what I'm saying super fast. It might be just because it's a character I don't have the biggest hype for. My similar, I don't want to break the tone of this video. I'm just saying, with this being said, since he is the perception of horror by every case, like I said, all characters in fiction or any other bearer of power in the same sense, he would have control over or ability omni overlook because of his whole rack of different power, calling it a state of power overall, because no other character could stack the same plane of power like he does. So, going on. First, creepypasta. Just make sure this is good here. Make sure I get the finish. There you go. Final fall. Alright, bet. Name Zoggle. He who waits behind the wall has a brilliant hive mind. Genderless, although often referred to as male, as old as chaos itself, which is unmeasurable. But I say the math for time, so measurable case of age. Classification: chaos god, elder god, horror incarnate, cosmic destroyer, the necessary hive mind of chaos, embodiment of chaos, the abomination of the seven mouths. Freakazoid god is pretty much what they mean by that in this case, in case you don't get what the abomination of the seven mouths would represent in this case. Or the special abilities, superhuman, physical characteristics, reality warping, black hole manipulation, immortality, type 1 possibly 4. To go and talk about a little bit of what that's supposed to go ahead and mean is pretty much there's different takes on immortality. In the case of type 1 is that he could never be killed in the case of considerably old age, or even by a person killing him unless they were on a cosmic high-end state of level like him. So unless you could destroy chaos itself or destroy entire conceptual representation of a being in the state of power, since again his power goes in all forms of horror and all rack of different darkness and all stains that corrupt of what it means to be a Lucifer devilish power, you can never perceive or even put a point of power to him to actually overarchingly kill him, because he'll just recuperate his power or regurgitate himself back into place in a state of power capability. So that's the type of thing that means when it comes down to his type of immortality, when it comes down to that. Soul manipulation, musical manipulation, superhuman physical characteristics. I already said that before. Cosmic awareness, chaos manipulation, corruption, and reality warp is all his main abilities, the power to bring the chaos to reality, being able to generate discord and madness through its mere presence. He's able to change and warp the reality as a whole, even by just mentioning its name, corrupt the very fabric of reality and all inhabitants in it from merely saying its name, or just distort entire spaces and mortals. Space, time manipulation, is able to change the very space, time in order to affect others. Wait, hold on, let's make sure I'm reading this right. It mentions from its chaotic into facts. I was checking properly. I'm not literate. It's just like the setup. That's all. It's chaotic realm, or just warp it by changing the directions and gravity. Subjective reality is able to warp comics and bring that warp to reality itself. Non-corporeal and abstract existence. Zargo exists as a chaotic hive mind, a notional being consisting of a large number of people who share their knowledge or opinions with one another, regarded as producing either uncritical conformity or collective intelligence. It was stated that summoning Zargo was summoning the very feeling of chaos. So, Immortality Type 1, 2, 3, 8, and 9 will remain as long as there is chaos, destruction, and evil. It is stated that he cannot be stopped as fear cannot be stopped, and that he is inseparable of reality as he exists beyond the veil, which implies Zargo's true self exists in his own dimension of darkness. Regeneration, mid-godly, possibly high-godly, he is inseparable of reality and is needed to destroy to erase Zargo from the plane in which he manifests. Even so, he will return his realm of chaos, and it's implied that he will return from the destruction of all reality within the multiverse. Mind manipulation was able to mentally torture a scientist, can remove and create memories, confuse the minds, make someone act erratically, generate morbid thoughts, or even lead someone to suicide, madness, manipulations, all those such. And this incomprehensible being that his mere presence can destroy entity and lead someone to the vortex of madness. Read this all entirely. Look at my finger here. I see from madness, a little fragment of his powers was able to destroy entire minds. Possession, anyone who speaks Zargo's name will become possessed, used as a child, as a vessel. So pretty much his name, his being could corrupt somebody, spew darkness into their mind, and then reform them into a form of a proxy like Slenderman. Slenderman is full mind manipulation, and with his mind manipulation, changing them up, but it's just a state of persona that will change their entire being like a husk mind, pretty much. So it's like how with a hive being of infection or maybe even disease could rob a person and change them. This inflects into a very dangerous note and dissolves their capability to even come back and do something to them in comparison. So manipulation can still consume being souls, as remove it by removing the eyes or devour it. His song of the soul is able to devour the entire soul of all reality itself and bring it to nothingness. Creation and pocket reality manipulation creates a dark tendrils. When he enters a dimensional plane, and it's implied that he created his own realm of chaos, which is served by countless legions of tortured souls waiting in a palace of tortured glass. Necromancy forges legions by the tears of sleepless dead. Perceptual manipulation can affect all the concepts of reality as being able to use abstract thoughts, such as suffering, to create armors or remove the concept of order from the reality in which he enters. Fought, likely defeated Ondorog, which is the god of order and life. So in comparison to him, like Clancy, that's pretty much Dr. Fate, a being that accompanies order and life and wants to preserve good, while he wants to rout the world and reign terror, because he's obviously the conceptual being of terror. He personifies it and wants to tear devastated planes of their beings apart in this case instance. So with this being said, him in comparison to this person will be a relativistic thing, since they're both in the same state of plane of being two beings clashing and then diffusing in comparison when it comes down to their opposite planes of existence, just to make that clear. And with going back and the embodiment of the planes of existence of mankind, darkness manipulation, his mere presence can remove all light and generate darkness. It holds a candle that sheds darkness. Telepathy can communicate with humans from across parallel dimensions, or his aura can induce fears into people from merely being in his presence, or even destroy and generate chaos with it. Induce fears into people from merely being in his presence, or even destroy and generate chaos with it. Musical manipulation can sing a comprehensible song which will unmake everything upon being heard. This shit is a lot. A man can deform minds, control minds, do all these different chaotic capabilities of power, and pretty much just out of pocket on the same level. Anyway, going through this all, you can see that his character has multi-plateau and stuff. If you really want to get a full read of this stuff, you can go here. just reading off of the mainline stuff and not needing to get a full ish. We have fire manipulation, summoning, plot manipulation, fate manipulation, which makes them beyond